So that, ladies and gentlemen, is Amelia Boone. She is the head legal counsel for Apple, the computer company. And she is one of the winningest Spartan racers of all time. And I was listening to an interview that she did with Tim Ferriss. By the way, if you don't follow Tim Ferriss, either download some of his books or go and listen to his podcast that he has. He's the guy who wrote The Miracle Morning. And he wrote a book called Tools of Titans, where all of the interviews that he's ever done, he's basically highlighted the thing that stuck out the most to him about that individual. And Amelia Boone said that she believes the reason she has gone so far in not just her Spartan race career, but in her career in the corporate world is because she's gotten really good at suffering. Now, suffering seems like a bad word, right? But when Tim asked for clarification on that, here's what she said. And I think there's some really important things that we can take away from it and apply to our everyday lives, especially in our business lives right now. She said, I know that my competitors are going to find the most favorable conditions to train in. For example, if there's a run that they're going to go and do, they're probably going to find the time where the weather's going to be good for them, and they can train without having to be rained on, and it's not going to be a tough experience for them to build their endurance. And she said, what makes me different is I look for the time of the day where the weather and the conditions are the least favorable, because I know that my competitors aren't going to train during that. So she said, if I see on the weather forecast that at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's going to be raining like crazy and it's going to be cold, that's when I'm going to go and train. And Tim looks at her and he basically says, well, why would you do that? And she says, because if I go and do that intentionally and I train when the conditions are really, really bad, and that race shows up that we're going to go in for that day, and the conditions aren't the most favorable for the race, I have a leg up on all of my competitors because I trained in stuff just like that. You see, you can't prepare for what the race day is going to look like because that's well off into the future, but you can prepare when times are not good so that you're ready for anything that comes your way. And she said, because of that, when race time comes, I'm ready for anything. It doesn't matter if the sun is out and there's not a cloud in the sky. She said it also doesn't matter if it's snowing like crazy and it just so happens to be that we're going to do the race in the snow that day. I am ready because I already trained for it. And all of those other people, they've never trained for anything like that. So when she says she got really good at suffering, that's what she means. She put herself in positions that nobody else was willing to put themselves in so that she had the advantage when race time came. Now, how do we apply this to what we're going through? Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We are in those conditions right now that most people hadn't ever trained for. The last 5 years have been, do you want to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate? Okay, let's go. And now it's, do you want to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate? And let me educate you on what the process looks like in today's market, because things have changed. Things are different. We're going to do things differently than what you heard your best friend who just bought a house back in January did. It's different now. Are you practicing your scripts and dialogue every single day? Are you practicing objection handlers? Have you learned how to take people to their motivation and hold them there when they're not getting what they want? when the price isn't showing up in the way that they thought it should because of conversations that they had with their best friend's neighbor's cousin's sister who sold their house back in February and got $150,000 over list price for it. Are you asking if they're truly motivated, that if they don't get that today, they would still be willing to sell? See, in Shift, it talks about finding the motivated. And one of the greatest ways that we can find the motivated is by asking really powerful and super intentional questions to find out how connected people are to the outcome of selling their home or buying a home. Because without them truly being connected, we may be wasting our time and their time without knowing what it is that they really want to do. Now is not the time to test the market. Now is the time to be committed to your outcome. So any thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways from Amelia Boone and the lesson of being willing to do things when other people aren't? Putting yourself in the less favorable conditions so that you can be successful when the opportunities show up.
I really think just, 90% of our job is just showing up every day. And whether that be, if we're just being present in our business every single day, we're doing more than most of the agents are in our marketplace. I can guarantee that.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, the big schedule conflict for so many agents in our industry is, what are we having for lunch? And the intentional agents already have accomplished the most important things of the day, which is, like Gary tells us, lead generation, lead follow-up, and lead conversion that we do before we even go to lunch, so that we have set up the afternoon for the appointments that we're going to go on that are going to impact lives. Remember that. What you do every single day is impact lives. Real estate, yes, is the product that you sell, but it's so much bigger than that, because we all know that there are so many emotions involved in real estate that it is about the person and the impact you're making on their life. Anyone else?
Good morning, Scott.
Good morning.
Graduated bold yesterday, my first bold.
Congratulations.
And I'm so excited because it truly helped me to shift my mindset and be uncomfortable. And I was at, I do catering on the side, and was at an event on Saturday night, and I did my little commercial, and, people were like, oh, great, great. But then afterwards on Sunday, I text several of the people just to remind them, and wanted to seek a referral and add them to my database. Well, the following day, one of the folks said, she literally texted me a phone number and a name and said, call her. She's interested in either renting or buying. So she gave me a lead.
Great. And it was because you were willing to put yourself in a position that you hadn't been willing to put yourself in before you took bold, that allowed you to get that lead, right?
Absolutely.
Great. Well, I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to wrap it up today by the same way that I do every single call. Remember, everything you want is outside of your comfort zone. Choose today to get just a little bit more uncomfortable so that you can have everything you've always wanted. I appreciate you guys for being on here with me. Have an amazing day and enjoy the rest of your week. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.